Today we discuss about excretory system of earthworm. In excretory system of earthworm, we read about the nephridia or singular nephridium, which are the excretory organelles of earthworm, and we discuss today about the different types of nephridia which are present in the body of the earthworm. So today's topic is excretory system. So in earthworm, the excretory organelles are nephridia. Nephridia are excretory organelles. They are segmentally arranged, that means are present in all segments except in first two segments. So the nephridia, what are they? They are coiled, tubular and glandular structure. They are coiled, tubular and glandular structure. And the nephridia of earthworm generally consist of three parts. Each nephridium generally consists of three parts, and the three parts are nephrostome, body and terminal duct. So each nephridium consists of three parts. Each nephridium consists of three main parts, and the three main parts are nephrostome, body and terminal duct. The nephrostome is funnel shaped structure. Nephrostome is funnel shaped structure and opens into coelom. Nephrostome is funnel shaped structure and this nephrostome opens into the coelom. Now the nephridia which are with nephrostome or the ciliated funnel shaped structure which opens into the coelom, they are called as metanephridium. So nephridium is singular. Nephridium with nephrostome. Nephridium with nephrostome is called metanephridium. Nephrostome is present. If nephrostome is present in nephridium, then the nephridium is called as metanephridium or nephridia is called as metanephridia. And in some cases the nephrostome may not be present in nephridia, or in some cases nephrostome may be lost, or nephrostome is not present in some nephridia. And in case of pheretima, small sized nephridia are present which are called as micronephridia. In earthworm, that means pheretima, small sized or microscopic nephridia, small sized nephridia called micronephridia are present. So in earthworm, small sized microscopic nephridia called as micronephridia are present. And in nephridia, the terminal duct of the nephridia, it may open inside the body or it may opens outside. The terminal duct, if it opens inside, then it opens into the alimentary canal, and if the nephridia opens internally into the alimentary canal, then that nephridia is called as enteronephric. Such type of nephridia are called as enteronephric, while in some cases the terminal duct of the nephridia may directly open outside, and if the terminal duct directly opens outside, then the nephridia is called as exonephric. So the terminal duct may opens inside body into alimentary canal or may directly opens outside. So if opens inside into alimentary canal, opens inside body into alimentary canal, then the nephridium is called as enteronephric. Nephridia are enteronephric. And if opens directly outside, then the nephridia are called as exonephric. So nephridia may be enteronephric means terminal duct opens inside in alimentary canal. Terminal duct opens inside in alimentary canal, and exonephric means terminal duct opens outside, and the opening is called as nephridiopore, opens outside by nephridiopore. So the nephridia may be enteronephric or exonephric depending on where the terminal duct opens. If it opens inside in alimentary canal, then it is enteronephric. If opens outside by nephridiopore, then that is the exonephric. So this is about the introduction to nephridia. Nephridia are excretory organelles in earthworm or in annelids, and they are coiled, tubular and glandular structure. And are present in each segments in earthworm, except in first 2 or 3 segments. In all other segments the nephridia are present, and each nephridium is singular. It generally consists of 3 main parts. In each nephridium there is presence of 3 main parts. The 3 main parts are nephrostome, body and terminal duct, and this nephrostome is funnel shaped structure. It is ciliated funnel shaped structure. Later we read in detail about these parts in structure of the nephridia. And the funnel shaped nephrostome, it opens into the coelom, and those nephridia or the nephridium which is with nephrostome is called as metanephridium. And in some cases the nephrostome may be lost. That means in some nephridia nephrostome is not present, and in earthworm small sized microscopic nephridia are present, which are called as micronephridia. Micronephridia are present. That means on the basis of size, small size microscopic nephridia are present and are called as micronephridia. And the terminal duct of the nephridium, it may opens inside the body. If it open inside, then it opens into the alimentary canal, or it may directly opens outside through the body surface. If opens inside, then the nephridium is called as enteronephric. Enteronephric means enteron means alimentary canal, gut. Nephric means nephridia. Nephridia which opens into gut or the alimentary canal. exonephric, exo means out, nephric means nephridia, nephridia which directly opens outside. So, this is about the introduction to nephridia. Now, we move into the types of nephridia in earthworm. Now, we read about types of nephridia in earthworm. On the basis of location where the nephridia are present in earthworm, the nephridia are of 3 types. So, now in types of nephridia, on the basis of location, 3 types of nephridia are present, and the 3 types of nephridia are, the nephridia are septal nephridia, pharyngeal nephridia, and integumentary nephridia. So, on the basis of location, 3 types of nephridia are present in earthworm. Septal nephridia, which are present on the surface of septum, pharyngeal nephridia, which are present near to the pharynx, and integumentary nephridia are the nephridia which are present in the integument, that means which remain embedded in the body wall. Septal on the surface of septum, pharyngeal near to pharynx, integumentary in body wall. Now, we read in detail about all these types of the nephridia. Let first begin from septal nephridia. Septal nephridia. Out of the 3 types of nephridia in earthworm, the septal nephridia are called as typical nephridia because they contain all parts which are present in a nephridium. That means each septal nephridia contains nephrostome. There is also presence of neck, body and terminal duct. That means the nephrostome is also present in the septal nephridia. However, the pharyngeal and integumentary nephridia, they are without nephrostome. So, the septal nephridia is called as typical nephridia of earthworm, and it is large size nephridia, typical nephridia, as well as it is large sized. That means largest among these 3. Largest among these 3 means septal, pharyngeal and integumentary. In these 3 types, the largest nephridia are septal nephridia. Now, about their location, where they are present. About their location. The septal nephridia are found on the surface of septum. They are present on both surface of septum, both surface of septum. They are present on both surface of septum, lying behind 15th segment. So, are present on both surface of septum which are present behind the 15th segment. That means the first septum which bears septal nephridia is the septum which lies between 15th and 16th segment, and they are present on both surface. That means on upper surface as well as lower surface. Let imagine this is a septum, and on this septum, on upper surface as well as lower surface, on both surface the septum, on both surface of the septum, the septal nephridia are present. here is written on both surface of septum they are present, and from septum lying behind 15th segment. That means the first septum which bears septal nephridia, that is the septum which lies between 15th and 16th segment, and on each surface two rows of septal nephridia are present. On each surface two rows of septal nephridia are present. It means if this is the septum, then this is one row, this is the another row on upper side, as well as this is on the lower side. On each surface two rows of septal nephridia are present, and in each row about 20 to 25 in each row are present, and in each row about 20 to 25 nephridia are present. Nephridia means septal nephridia are present. Thus, there are 4 rows, so altogether multiplied by 4 equals to 80 to 100 septal nephridia are present. Thus, about 80 to 100, about 80 to 100 septal nephridia are found on the surface of each septum. On the surface of each septum, about 80 to 100 septal nephridia are present. So, this is about the location and number of the septal nephridia. So, they are present on both surface of septum lying behind 15th segment. They are present on both surface of septum lying behind 15th segment, and on each surface of the septum there is presence of 2 rows of septal nephridia. 2 rows of septal nephridia are present on each surface of the septum, and in each row about 20 to 25 nephridia are present. Thus, altogether about 80 to 100 septal nephridia are found on the surface of each septum. So, this is about location and number of the septal nephridia. Now, we read about structure of the septal nephridia. Now, we read the structure of septal nephridia. Structure of septal nephridia. Structure of septal nephridia. Each septal nephridium consists of 3 parts. The septal nephridium consists of 3 parts. There are 3 main parts. A small neck is also present, but the 3 main parts are nephrostome, body, and terminal duct. So, a septal nephridium consists of 3 main parts, and the 3 main parts are nephrostome, body, and terminal duct. A small neck is also present which connects the nephrostome with the body. A small neck connects nephrostome with body. So, these 3 are the main parts of the septal nephridia. Now we read about nephrostome. The nephrostome is ciliated funnel shaped structure and it opens into the coelom. Nephrostome is ciliated funnel shaped structure and opens into coelom. The nephrostome is ciliated funnel shaped structure and it opens into the coelom. Its opening is called as mouth. And the opening remains guarded by upper lip and lower lip. Its opening also called as mouth remains guarded by upper lip and lower lip. So its opening is called as mouth, by which it opens into the coelom, and this opening remains guarded by upper lip and lower lip. Now this upper lip, it consists of a large central cell and about 8 to 9 marginal cell. Upper lip consists of, in upper lip we find the upper lip consists of a large central cell. It consists of a large central cell and 8 to 9 and about 8 to 9 marginal cells. While the lower lip, it consists of 4 to 5 compactly packed 4 to 5 cells. The lower lip consists of 4 to 5 compact cells. So the nephrostome is ciliated funnel shaped structure and it opens into the coelom. Its opening is called as mouth, and this mouth remains guarded by upper lip and lower lip, and the upper lip consists of a large central cell and about 8 to 9 marginal cells, and the lower lip consists of 4 to 5 compact cell, and all the cells are ciliated. All these cells are ciliated. Now the function of the nephrostome is to direct the coelomic fluid, towards the nephridium. It drains the coelomic fluid into the nephridium. Its function is to drain coelomic fluid. Into nephridium. So this is about the nephrostome. It is a ciliated funnel shaped structure which opens into the coelom or coelomic chamber, and its opening is called as mouth. The mouth remains guarded by upper lip and lower lip, and in upper lip there is presence of a large central cell and 8 to 9 marginal cell, while the lower lip consists of 4 to 5 compact cell and all the cells are ciliated. Now this nephrostome, it remains connected with body by a short tubular structure, and that short tubular structure is called as neck. Nephrostome. Nephrostome remains connected with body by a short tubular structure called neck. Now we move into body part. Now we move into body. Now we read about body. The next part is body. Body is the main part and it consists of straight lobe and twisted limb. Now look here, let's make a figure. This is nephrostome. This one is the neck part. Let's make it somewhat wider. This is the neck and this one is the straight limb, and now here is the make it somewhat wider at this part. Inside here there will be 3 ducts. So let me take somewhat wider. Now it move like this. Now it bends and it comes like this. Now let make it more accurate. Okay, this is the outline of the this is terminal duct. Okay, this is outline of the septal nephridia. This is outline of the septal nephridia. Later on we fill the tubules and the figure became completed. Let now read first about this body. Now this is nephrostome. This is nephrostome. This one is neck. This is terminal duct, and the whole part is body. The whole upper part is body. This whole part is body. Now this part is called as narrow apical part. This is narrow apical part. This is straight lobe. This is straight lobe, and this one is the twisted lobe. And in twisted lobe there is presence of two limbs. This is one limb and this is another limb. This one is the distal limb, while this one is the proximal limb. So, in twisted lobe here is presence of distal limb and proximal limb, and this is the structure. Now, look here, the body, it consists of straight lobe and twisted lobe. In body there is presence of straight lobe and here is presence of twisted lobe. Now, in twisted lobe there is presence of proximal limb and distal limb, and also consists of a narrow apical part. So, body is main part, and consists of straight lobe, twisted lobe, straight lobe and twisted lobe with narrow apical part. Now, so in body what we have studied, it is the main part and it consists of straight lobe and twisted lobe with a narrow apical part, and the length of the twisted lobe is about double the length of the straight lobe. Another point what we have to know about their length of twisted lobe. Length of twisted lobe is about double than that of straight lobe. So, length of twisted lobe is about double than the length of the straight lobe, and in twisted lobe there is presence of proximal and distal limb which are spirally twisted with each other. In twisted lobe, proximal and distal limb are present and are spirally twisted, and there is presence of about 9 to 13 twists. That means they remain coiled at 9 to 13 places, spirally twisted, and about 9 to 13 twists are found. So, this is about the straight lobe, twisted lobe and apical part, or simply this is about the body. The body consists of straight lobe and twisted lobe, and the twisted lobe has a narrow apical part. This is the narrow apical part, and the length of the twisted lobe is about double than that of the straight lobe. So, length of straight lobe is about half than the length of the twisted lobe, and in twisted lobe there is presence of distal limb and the proximal limb, and the distal limb and proximal limb, they are spirally twisted or spirally coiled with each other, and there is presence of about 9 to 13 twists or coils in between the proximal and distal limb. Now the terminal duct. Now the terminal duct. The terminal duct is a short tubular structure. The terminal duct is a short tubular structure. Now about the nephridial tubule. Inside the nephridium, all these parts, that means in the neck, terminal duct, straight lobe, proximal limb, distal limb, there is presence of glandular mass, glandular syncytial mass, and in that mass there is presence of the nephridial tubule, and there is presence of one tubule inside the neck. Let me make it somewhat wider. Make it somewhat wider. And inside the neck, here is presence of one tubule. One nephridial tubule is present inside the neck. Inside the terminal duct also we find one nephridial tubule. Inside the terminal duct also there is presence of one nephridial tubule, and inside this straight lobe there is presence of 4 nephridial tubule, while 3 nephridial tubules are present in proximal and distal limb, and in the apical part only 2 nephridial tubules are present. So what we have studied? We have studied that inside the nephridium there is presence of nephridial tubule in glandular mass, and inside straight lobe 4 nephridial tubules are present. Inside proximal and distal limb 3 nephridial tubules are present, while in apical part, there is presence of 2 nephridial tubule, while inside neck and inside the terminal duct, in each there is presence of 1 nephridial tubule. Let make it, here is 1 nephridial tubule, here is also 1 nephridial tubule, now 4 in the straight lobe. This is 1 nephridial tubule, this is another nephridial tubule, and now one more nephridial tubule, this is another nephridial tubule, and this nephridial tubule now it passes towards this side, and this nephridial tubule also remain connected with the tubule in the distal limb. One is here, another one is here. Now these make the 3 nephridial tubule here. This is 1 nephridial tubule, this is 1 nephridial tubule, this is another nephridial tubule, and this is another nephridial tubule. Okay, these are the 3 nephridial tubules here. Let correct it somewhat. Like this, and make it complete. Okay, now Here also we have to make 3 nephridial tubules. These nephridial tubules will come here, 3 nephridial tubules. This is one tubule, this one is another tubule, and one more tubule. This is the another tubule. 3 tubules are here. In the same way, here also we have to make 3 tubules. This is one tubule, this is another tubule, and this is the final one, another tubule, 3 tubules. Now from here one tubule will come like this here. This, out of these 3 tubules, this is one tubule which is here, and now here after here are 2 tubules. This is one tubule, and this is the another tubule. Correct it also some. Let's bring it here, and this also. Like this. So now here 2 tubules are present. Let's make 2 lines here. This is the narrow apical part. Okay. Now this is the complete figure of the nephridia. And one more thing, this nephridial tubule, it remains ciliated at 4 places. It remains ciliated at 4 places. Let's make it ciliated. It is ciliated in neck. It is ciliated in neck, and it is ciliated in terminal duct, and it is ciliated in 2 tubules of the straight limb. One, this is ciliated, and this is the another ciliated tubule. So it remains ciliated at 2 places. Now let's make the glandular mass by using another color. This is the glandular mass in which the nephridial tubules are present. This is the glandular mass. So this is glandular mass. Let's make it complete. So in this side also, this is the glandular mass. Here also and here also. Okay, this is the complete figure of the septal nephridia. Now, what we have studied? We have studied that the nephridial tubule inside nephridium, syncytial glandular mass. Syncytial glandular mass is present, in which the nephridial tubule is present. Nephridial tubule is present. Now, then after that we have studied there is presence of 4 tubules. 4 tubules in this straight lobe. 4 tubules in straight lobe. Then 3 in proximal and distal limb. 3 tubules in proximal and distal limb. 3 tubules in proximal and distal limb, and 2 tubules in apical part. 2 tubules in apical part and 1 tubule in neck. In the same way, 1 tubule in terminal duct. So, this is about the nephridial tubule. What we have studied, inside the nephridium there is presence of syncytial glandular mass, that means the multinucleated glandular mass. Syncytial glandular mass means the multinucleated glandular mass is present, and in that mass there is presence of the nephridial tubule. There is presence of nephridial tubule, and 4 tubules are present inside the straight lobe. 3 tubules are present inside the proximal limb and distal limb, and 2 tubules are present in the apical part, while 1 tubule is present each in neck and the terminal duct. And this nephridial tubule, it remains ciliated at 4 places. Nephridial tubule, nephridial tubule remains ciliated at 4 places. The 4 places are 1 in neck, 1 tubule of the neck, 1 in terminal duct, and 2 in straight lobe. So, this is about the structure of the septal nephridia. Let's sum up once what we have studied. We have studied that the septal nephridia is the typical nephridia and is the largest nephridia in pheretima, and this nephridia consists of nephrostome, which is also called as nephridiostome, and which consists of nephrostome, body, and the terminal duct. Nephrostome is ciliated funnel shaped structure, and its opening is called as mouth, and the mouth remains guarded by upper lip and lower lip, and in upper lip there is presence of a large central cell and about 8 to 9 marginal cells are present, while the lower lip of the nephrostome, it consists of 4 to 5 compact cell. And this nephrostome, it remains connected with body by a short tubular structure, and this short tubular structure is called as neck, and the body is the main part, and it consists of straight lobe and twisted lobe, and this twisted lobe, it has a narrow apical part. The length of the straight lobe is about double the length of the straight lobe, and in twisted lobe we find distal limb and proximal limb, and the distal and proximal limb are spirally coiled with each other, and there is presence of about 9 to 13 twists in them. And this proximal limb, it remains connected with the straight lobe, while the distal limb remains connected with neck and terminal duct. And the terminal duct is a short tubular structure. Now, inside the nephridium, we find syncytial glandular mass, and in that glandular mass there is presence of nephridial tubule, and there is presence of 4 nephridial tubule inside the straight lobe, and 3 tubules are present inside the proximal limb and distal limb, while there is presence of 2 tubules inside in the apical part, and only 1 tubule is present in neck, and only 1 tubule is present in the terminal duct. And this nephridial tubule, it remains ciliated at 4 places, and the 4 tubules which are ciliated, 1 tubule is in neck, 1 tubule is in terminal duct, and 2 tubules are inside the straight lobe. They are ciliated. Now, this terminal duct, it opens into a pair of septal excretory canal. The terminal duct opens into a pair of septal excretory canal, and the septal excretory canal further opens into supraintestinal excretory duct. Which lies just dorsal to the intestine from 15th segment up to last segment, and in each segment the supraintestinal excretory duct opens into the intestine. So, we say the septal nephridia are enteronephric. Previously we have studied those nephridia which opens inside into the alimentary canal, they are called as enteronephric. Here also the terminal duct opens into, let us write it. Now, this terminal duct, the terminal duct opens into a pair of septal excretory canals, and these septal excretory canals, they open into a pair of supraintestinal excretory duct, which they run dorsal. They run dorsal to intestine. From 15th segment up to last segment, and in each segment they open into intestine or alimentary canal. So, thus septal nephridia are enteronephric. So, what we have studied, the terminal duct opens into a pair of septal excretory canals, and this septal excretory canal, they open into supraintestinal excretory duct. Which are also a pair in number, and they run just dorsal to the intestine from 15th segment up to the last segment, and in each segment they open into the intestine. So, the septal nephridia are enteronephric. This is about the septal nephridia.